Irrespective of how much wealth, assets, and material possessions we may acquire for comfort in our life, the real wealth lies in our health. We have often heard this saying, but in the hustle and bustle of our lives, we have somewhere forgotten it. It has been noticed of late that the majority of our wellness-related problems are due to the wrong lifestyle. Crack the Wellness Code, or CWC as it is commonly known, has its origin in the health hero story of its founder, Mr. Naren Bakshi, a serial entrepreneur of Indian origin in Silicon Valley. He was able to reverse his lifestyle diseases like diabetes, sleep apnea, and obesity by making lifestyle corrections that were backed by ancient Vedic wisdom and Western scientific research. This led to the establishment of India chapter in June 2020, with Wing Commander V.K. Kala leading the Indian operations. As a pilot, the initiative was launched in the name of Pehla Sukh in association with the Indie Family Foundation with full support from India Community Center and CWC Global in Silicon Valley. This received due adulation from the Honorable Chief Minister Mr. Ashok Gehlot and the then Health Minister of Rajasthan Dr. Raghu Sharma. The encouraging feedback led to the formation of the Indus Wellness Code Trust in April 2021 and finally registered as a Section 8 company under the Companies Act by the name My Crack the Wellness Code Foundation in July 2022. CWC has a dedicated full-time team, doctor patrons, and volunteers with a total focus on wellness. The initiative has conducted more than 50 webinars on various dimensions of wellness such as physical, mental, emotional, and occupational wellness, and so on, with experts from around the globe, including Stanford and Harvard University. Our Wellness Resource Center was established at Mr. Naren Bakshi's ancestral property to run regular wellness activities such as wellness-based events, knowledge and yoga sessions, support group interactions, access to wellness library, and so on. It is located at a prominent commercial hub at Jaipur. Various eminent educational institutions, corporates, and other not-for-profit organizations are already associated with us to work together on spreading the wellness message. This foundation firmly believes that we must take care of our body and mind, as this is the place where we have to spend our entire life. Wellness means that to the extent possible, we should follow good habits in our life so that we remain healthy in all aspects and live our life to the fullest. Healthy mind and thoughts reside in a healthy body, and if we want to live a happy life, then we shouldn't ever let it fall sick. The goal of My CWC Foundation is to bring wellness to the lives of 50 lakh people in 5 years. And for this, our mantra is E, I inspire, E empower, and I impact. Now the question is, how will it happen? First, let's talk about E, which means educate. The foundation will educate its participants through the content, which is available online on our YouTube channel and Khushi app, and offline through content library at a Wellness Resource Center. These resources are based on recommendations by some of the best experts from across the world. We also connect you with our health experts through webinars, workshops, and support groups to be able to get research-based information on wellness. Now comes the I, which means inspire. We inspire participants towards wellness with the support of doctors, health experts, and our health heroes with show and tell approach. E means empower. Participants have the opportunity to choose amongst different support groups, meetups, technology platforms, and mobile applications that empower them to make wellness an integral part of their life. Finally, I means impact. In order to reach its goal of 50 lakh Indians in next 5 years, the Indian chapter of CWC, just like CWC Global, is committed to working on the reversal of lifestyle disorders related to heart, obesity, diabetes, cancer, and mental and behavioral health. Today, India is doing well in various sectors, but when it comes to Global Wellness Index, India ranks fairly low. It is high time that we Indians claim our rightful place in the Health and Wellness Index, and we are sure that we will make an impact there. So, let us all unite and join this cause of a better India, a wellness-oriented India. Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Sharad Kamra from Crack the Wellness Code, and I welcome you all to this another edition on Nutrigenomics. Last week, we also had a very interesting interaction between Dr. Sri Kumar and Dr. Vandana. And again, we are here to discuss nutrigenomics, more specific to cases which have been really turned out successfully. Although Dr. Sri Kumar is an excellent authority and he has years of experience at his back to do this. And a very important thing to mention here is that, the human evolution, such is the capacity of the human brain that whenever we are faced with any adversities, the human brain has the ability to come up with a solution. And so when you look at, when there was a problem of COVID, there were vaccines available in due time. And so any challenge which is coming, we come up with the answer sooner or later. And when, now is the time when we are living in a world where there's so many lifestyle disorders, people face so many difficulties, health issues related to whether it is obesity, diabetes, or hypertension. So many lifestyle disorders are there. There we have, doctors like Dr. Sri Kumar, who has, for the last 20 years been working in this area. And when so many different alternative therapies are juxtaposed to each other, we see that Dr. Kumar has been able to integrate things so well. And with him in the interaction, we are going to have Dr. Vandana with us. And what to talk about Dr. Vandana, she is again an authority in the area of nutrition. So again, we are going to have a wonderful conversation between a doctor and a nutritionist on nutrigenomics. To talk about Dr. Vandana, she's a nutritionist and diet counselor from Jaipur, founder director of her own venture, Jijivisha, which aims for finding the right balance between nutritional strategies, sustainable food systems, and health. She has been an ICSSR research fellow at University of Rajasthan and has PhD in food and human nutrition. She's one of the executive committee members of Indian Dietetic Association, Rajasthan chapter, and also member of organizations like IPAN and NetProfile. She has to accredit numerous research and review papers which have been published in national and international journals and presented those at various eminent forums. She loves experimenting on developing new recipes which are healthy, wholesome, and nutritious. Dr. Vandana works with people from all walks of life as clinical dietitians and public health expert for management of gastric health, diabetes, hormonal balance, infant maternal nutrition, and sports nutrition. And she's been actively participating in various public forums on health and well-being. So welcome, Dr. Vandana. Thank you so much once again to be moderating this excellent session. And it's over to you now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the warm welcome. And good morning, everyone. Good morning to all who are attending this session from the Zoom room, YouTube, and other places where it is telecasted. So today we have with us Dr. Sri Kumar. 2 weeks back, again, we had a session with Sri sir where he explained us about his work in epigenetics and nutrigenomics. Thank you, sir, for being over here with us. Dr. Sri Kumar is a medical doctor and ENT surgeon by profession with fellowship from Australian College of Nutritional and Environmental Medicine. He has more than 4 decades of rich international experience as a medical practitioner, with last 2 decades dedicated to his path-breaking research and practice in the field of wellness and nutrigenomics. Through various foundations established by him like BioWell, Dr. Sri Integrative Functional Medicine Hospital, Shokya Foundation, Wellness Solution, Nutrigenomics, Indian Nutritional Medical Association, he has to his credit thousands of patients who are suffering from different lifestyle disorders. He's conducting fellowship program for hundreds of doctors in India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, USA, and Middle East. So far, he has conducted 11 international nutritional and environmental medicine conferences. He is a regular invitee to many medical institutions in Malaysia, Indonesia, Dubai, Muscat, Australia, UK, and USA as an international faculty. He has also initiated 100 plus clubs, conducted fellowship program, initiated PG diploma in wellness, University of Mysuru, Right for Health initiative covering 250,000 people. in association with National Human Rights Commission in India, and conducted school wellness program which is covering 1 lakh students every year. He's also conducting workplace wellness programs. He's a life member and past president of Pandalam Indian Medical Association, life member of AOI and past president of Kerala AOI, life member of Red Cross Society and past president of Rotary Club Cochin Central. I welcome you, sir. So in the last session, you have explained us about your work in epigenetics and nutrigenomics. You have also tell us the therapies that you are conducting over there with the and the metabolic assessment pattern which is taking place at your centers. Can you please explain a little about this? Can you just have a review about all the things that you have explained so that the people who are attending for the first time can get a glimpse of the session? Sir, to you.
So thank you, Dr. Vandana and Dr. Sharath, for making this platform more enterprising and as well as more acceptable to the people. And nutrigenomics, I think maybe most of the people are just to understand what is this. This is nothing but you have to eat for your genes. So you eat for your genes and genes express that we call as genomes or epigenetics. So the expression of gene can be determined by your environment, and mostly it is the food. So food and water that is going in actually is manipulating your genes, and this is one of the reasons for most of the lifestyle diseases and also the various epidemics that you are seeing nowadays. So some of the things that you have to understand is because in the early days we thought that okay, just becoming sick, you go to a hospital, see a doctor and take some medications for a few days and you will be all right. So the question is, who made them all right? That is, made them all right were actually the nature. Nature was so powerful, so strong and so pure. So what happened is it has been very good for all of us and it has healed most of the diseases, and don't have to carry out the medications. So that period is over. So slowly and slowly we knew that okay, there are some other intrinsic problems coming, so it has gone into specialties. So various specialties and disease specialties also came, not only organs, but now it has gone beyond that. And what I have to just tell before going into some of the experiences is, today we are in the 21st century. We think about classrooms, education, research in the lab, clinical studies, which we were using a lot of clinical studies, and closed room technological growth are all good and can do a lot of wonders. But what we have seen, that we thought lot of things, and we created systems and protocols, and this we thought that okay, this is the right way forward. But we can see what is the end result of today. We are in deep trouble. Very deep, and not only us, but also we are taking the whole universe with us. So what we see today, because in the outset you can see what we are seeing in almost all of us are nothing but anxiety, fear, and tension. And we know that these three things will create any lifestyle disease, and also along with that comes the communicable or infectious disease. So the real question is, why with all these scientific growth and developments, what happens? So one of the things that I have to clearly specify here, not a single system will work with anyone. The way forward is nothing but integration. Integration of a lot of things. I think maybe when you hear some of the stories, you can also understand that, okay, how the integrations work. And what is this integration? Is it mind, body, and soul? I will say yes. Is it science, medicine, and life? That is also yes. And if it is whether it is at a cellular level or at a holistic level, that is also yes. So integration has to be there deep down. And from there, what happens? We have to see that we have to link science. And a lot of things that we have been doing or we were knowing were basically on things which we see the end result. For example, I am seeing a patient is becoming better. And I will say, I did this and patient is better. So everybody sees only that. So what has gone behind? So you have to understand the science behind to understand that you can do a lot of things. So for that, you have to understand about you, your health, your nature, and we have to concentrate. We should not concentrate on disease, because I will say that today all of us are focusing on disease, disease control, disease prevention, disease therapy, palliative care, all these things. These are all negative. So you have to come out of it. You think about you think about your health, what you want to do in your life. So I have seen because maybe some of the cases which I have seen is because they all know that this is what has happened is it is because they have created their own goals in their life. So one of the job, I think one of the clinicians of today, so it is not treating disease. What do you want? What the person wants out of it. So I feel still they understand the science behind ancient wisdom, especially India is very rich in it. And you have to understand the science behind it and then link it with modern science. Explain the science behind everything. I know all of you know about the famous sacred book, Bhagavad Gita, which has taught us one thing, Tattvamasi, thou art that, you are that, or you are here, you are everywhere, and nowhere to be seen. Before going to my presentation, understand the real truth. You are not what you think now. And this because when you see that you are one person, I have to tell you that you are not one person. You are consisting of trillions and trillions of individual independent cells, and you are binding those together. And so let's make this. So what is it? Your job is you have to nourish all these cells properly. And what the cells do, they share each other, they share the food and share what they produce. And what is being shared here is the trillions and trillions of signaling molecules that is coming out, or we can say it's communications. When communication is good, we know that it is really good. When communication is bad, you can see there is a lot of diseases are coming. So what we were doing is either we cut off some of the negatives, like doing surgery, that was my job before, and or you will do something or give medicine so that you block it. But now what we have to understand that these things may be necessary. So that is also integration. So you have to correct the defects also. So that means when you have a disease, you go from outside to inside. We go from inside to outside. So the only person responsible for your health and your life are you only. So I can say that, okay, so I'll be sharing one of experience, and after that, I think some videos will come in. I think one of the most important thing. So I have to just say the power of nutrigenomics. That means it is actually coming in a big way because nutrigenomics is nothing but epigenetics. Epigenetics is actually the real power of your genes, which can come out and maybe explain and maybe do a lot of things which you think it is not possible. So when you say you have a thought process will be converted into an active form by biochemistry and then into biophysics and then into action. And this is being done by nutrigenomics. And a lot of these things you cannot see or you cannot visualize. You can see only marks. So that is where we have seen. So how to go behind it. So what we have, I have charted out in this presentation is what we do, especially how to deliver all these things possible. So even though we are not concentrating on disease, most of the people come with the fag end of their life with a lot of complications. So we take a history of disease. So, and everything we note down, and after that, we only concentrate on focus on health. So in that process, I have given a short form. GMA means Genometabolic Assessment or Analysis, Genometabolic Report, Genometabolic Therapy, GMT, WMMM, Wellness Metabolic Monitoring Markers, and the end result, I am not talking about cure or anything. I will say quality added life in years, QALY. So it is actually mainly comes as genometabolic assessment. So that means that you can assess the epigenetics and also the metabolism. So epigenetic analysis, initially, maybe some years back, I started doing it, but now I know that okay, it has to come a lot way more. So I don't want to put the people under pressure. Is financial problem, especially because even today I will say that epigenetics is not. We have to also find out the genetic expression of the bacterial flora in your body, so genome. So till that comes out, so it is long way to go. It is mainly under research and things, but you can understand all these things by asking the epigenetic questionnaire that we provide is epigenetic questionnaire and metabolic questionnaire, and we understand how your mind knows everything. So we want to extract everything from the mind, and then we, based on the other biochemical and toxicology report, we create the genome metabolic report. Then we advise on what all measures to be taken. This is highly personalized at the epigenetic level. That is why we call it as genome metabolic therapy. In genome metabolic therapy, we actually do various things. One is detoxification is very significant. That means removing toxins from the cells, from the liver, from the colon, from kidney, and from the skin. So various measures or natural measures we do. And we also create some monitoring metabolic monitoring markers for us to follow it up with, especially review with the patient. And then we can decide on the quality of life the person is having. So before going into one definite, maybe a video which is showing, I just wanted to share one case which has come yesterday as a follow-up. So 3rd September 2000, she's a 51-year-old had a carcinoma of the ovary. So actually what happened is June 2021, she has been diagnosed with this cancer of the ovary, and they advised pre-operative chemotherapy because it was so huge. So they said they cannot do. Then after that, they did surgery. BSO is bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy. That means it is a removal of all the uterus, ovaries, and all the pelvic structures along with that. And again, after that, they also did chemotherapy again. So pre-operative chemo, surgery, and post-operative chemo. So on July 2021, after all these things, they found secondaries in the liver. So secondaries in the liver, and again, they have looked at the cancer markers like CA125, it was 8,184, very much higher. And CEA was 38.41. All these two were very high. And so they advised again chemotherapy. You can see in 2 months' time, she was advised again chemotherapy, and the patient refused. Patient said, no, we are not going for any further treatment. So she was bad, and she came to us on 16/7/21 and got discharged on 37. So GMA, when we looked at her genome metabolic assessment, we found these are the inferences we got. Very low immunity defense system, hormones imbalanced, hormones are not in balance, and very high insulin resistance. And apart from all these cancer markers. So what we did is we did detox. What we did in the detox procedure is mainly we have done liver detox, and then we have done the colon detox, and then we also did the liver detox through the ozone therapy. So rectal ozone we have given, and also the major autochemotherapy, and then high dose vitamin C. So we have adopted for this patient first day 15 grams or 15,000 milligram of vitamin C intravenous, and then 30 grams twice daily for 5 days, then 2 days off, and 30 grams again twice daily for another 5 days. And in between, we gave multivitamins and mineral drip. Vitamin D injection we have given because her vitamin D was very low. Then oral medications like vitamins and minerals we have given. On 29/7, she was discharged on 37. 29/7, we have checked her cancer antibodies, and it has found the CA is for CA125 became 28 from 8,184, and CEA became 1.2. So then discharged and went back, and she came back for review on 3/8/2022, and with especially yesterday, and we can see she had a mild numbness in the body, that is in the peripheral extremities, because she is living in a very cold place. So that could be there, no other anomalies. This is the only complaint she has, but her CEA is 1.2 and CA125 is 18. and other immunity markers. I think we have sent the blood yesterday, but maybe everything will be normal because she is actually doing very good and continuing her job. She is a programmer in school, computer programmer, and she is doing excellently well at the age of 1. So I can say from a very, very devastating stage in 2021, after all the conventional therapy, when we integrated this, we could find a fantastic result. And so anybody can imagine the quality of life of this patient. So quality of life, and she is admitted in our center, and she will be here for 5 days. She came for reviews and some injections of good nutrients. So that is why she has come yesterday. She is coming from, I think, 5-6 hours travel from here. So next case, I think Sharad is having that video with you, and maybe you can play that video now.
Azhar, please play Lakshmi's video.
Yeah.
So we will be playing the... Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, so we will be playing Lakshmiji's video right now.
Yes.
Mrs. Varalakshmi Balasumramanyam
Yes.
is a resident of Atlanta, USA. She is living over there with her husband and 2 daughters. She is a special educator by profession and teach children with multiple disabilities and special needs. She have done her post-graduation in psychology and sociology and have a degree in special education. She is healing herself as she has been diagnosed with cervical cancer, rectal cancer, and colon cancer. And she is working with Dr. Shri Kumar and have healed herself with the power of mind and Nutrigenomics. Can we have a video now?
Good morning to the CWC team, doctors, panelists, and everyone at the audience. I am very grateful and thankful to the CWC team and Dr. Shri Kumar for giving me this opportunity to come out with my story. My name is Varalakshmi Balasumramanyam. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, with my family consisting of my husband and my 2 daughters. I'm a special educator by profession, and I have a postgraduate degree in sociology and psychology, and also a degree in special education. I used to be a full-time special ed teacher, but now I, of late, only working as a part-time teacher with the Forsyth County School Districts. I am a 3-time cancer survivor, and here is my story. My story will be in 2 parts. The first part about my diagnosis, and the second part, what did I do in order to change my situation and the lessons learned. In the year 2011, we moved to India from California, and after moving to India, within 6 months of time, I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. I had a lot of bleeding. So I was told to go, that I was told that I had polyps. And after the diagnosis and the initial assessment, surgery was performed, and wherein my uterus and the ovaries were removed. And after during the follow-up, at that time only I got to know that I had cervical cancer. And learning that I have cancer, my initial reaction was of fear, because fear took over me, because I have seen my mom die of cancer. So the only thought that came to my mind was, what would happen to my family? What would happen to my kids? Because my kids were very young at that time. They were 3.5 and 4 years old at that time of my diagnosis. So all these thoughts were going on in my mind, but when I went to the doctor, he told me that it's the first stage and it can be taken care of. So after the surgery, it was followed by chemotherapy, brachytherapy, and radiation therapy. And life went on until the 9th month. I was until the 9th month, I was again told, I know there was a review done for me, and at that time they found a new growth in the colon area, and this again was followed by surgery and chemotherapy. By this time, I was so devastated, I did not like the thought of only chemo going into my body all the time, because I know that for sure that chemo not only kills the good cells but also the cancer cells. So when I was going through all these things, I got to know through a family friend about Dr. Srikumar, who treated patients, especially cancer patients, in a holistic way. So they told me to try it and see for myself. So I just did not know what to expect, but I was ready to take in anything that was offered to me at that point of time. I went to Cochin without even questioning what I was getting into, without even thinking what I was getting into. And when I went there, I liked the calmness that I saw in Dr. Srikumar, and I was very amazed by the way he talked to me, because he never spoke to me about my disease. All that I knew he and his panel of doctors were assessing me, but all that he was talking to me about what we need to do in order to take care of our health. And he also told me to be off of dairy and gluten products, and that would help. And he also explained why we need to be off of those things. And that's how I went into doctor's treatment. And for 8 to 10 months, every month I would go to him, and for 10 days at a stretch, I would stay there and take my nutritional treatment. And initially when I went to him, a blood work was taken, and after that, the treatment plan was only catered to me according whatever the needs that I had at that point of time. And then during the year 2014, my husband has a chance to relocate to the US back. So we came back to the US, and this time we came to Atlanta, where my brother and my dad lives. So we thought we'll have family support, and we came over here. And when we came over here again, I had to go for my initial assessment. So when I went for my review, when I did my colonoscopy, it was found that there was a new growth in the rectum area. All these three cancer, came in quick succession, and it did not give me enough time to think of what next, kind of. It did not give me any choice in my life, what I will do, how I'm going to deal with it. There was no choice at all for me. So again, the same protocol was followed, wherein I went in for assessment and a review, and I was advised that I should undergo surgery. And this time they also told me that my colon and the rectum will be removed, and they would give me something called the colostomy bag. At that time, I did not understand anything what I was getting into, but I knew for sure it was, as at that time, my only thought process was, as long as I have my life, it did not matter to me. And then when I went into the surgery, it took a longer time, because my surgeon told me it was a very difficult surgery because of the internal radiation that was given. All my organs were, stuck to each other. It took some time for me to, it took some time for them to get into and do the ostomy thingy. And now, after this, when I had my cancer, I also had high BP and type 2 diabetes, for which I was on medication. When I went into Dr. Srikumar's treatment, slowly, by making lifestyle changes, I rectified these two problems also, and I was off both medications for BP as well as my diabetes. The Now coming to the second part, the changes that I made. When I joined, when in India, I joined a personal growth work class, personal growth work group under the mentorship of Omna Hirantra. Through these classes, I learned over a period of time that our mind is a powerful tool, and by changing the way I think, I can change, I can bring about changes in my health. I learned that diseases are manifestation of our inner thoughts, and by changing my thought process, I can heal my cancer too. So I started setting goals for myself and started working on it too. And second thing, what I did was I found a yoga, personal yoga trainer who would come home and teach me certain asanas and also pranayam. And this helped me tremendously, not only physically, but also mentally. And the third thing that I was doing was, along with the personal growth work classes and the yoga thing, I was also under Dr. Shrikumar's nutritional treatment, wherein a targeted thing was given to me for my needs. Whatever was my needs were there, it was given to me at that point of time. And it was during his treatment only I learned that about how our genetics, the predisposition between our genetics and the environment, and how it affects a person when the right conditions comes in contact with each other. He also told me to be off of dairy and gluten products, and through his nutritional treatment over a period of time, I became very strong, and now I'm in front of you, sharing my story with you guys. And fourth point is, I also learned that sleep is another important component in healing. So when I took care of all these 4 areas, my cancer automatically, could not thrive in those environments. Finally, the lessons learned at the end of all these experiences. I learned to love and accept and approve of myself. I learned to forgive others and let go of things. And I am also grateful for everything that I received. It taught me to be present in the now rather than looking in the past. Thank you so much for having me here, and I hope you like my story. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your story. I hope we have all learned about it, that compassion is equally important in this treatment. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, I would like to learn from you also about how you have treated Lakshmi ji.
Yeah, Lakshmi came to me. First time I met her, she was in a bad shape, especially when she came to Cochin, and she was referred by another yoga teacher who was giving yoga. And that is the time when I told her, yoga will work provided you nourish your body. And that is how then because she is a learned person, so I could explain some genetic aspect to her, but maybe how far she understood that, I don't know. But anyway, with that in mind, she was preparing herself and the food and all those things that was going in. And combined with all this yoga, meditation, and I think she's a good, maybe what happened is her attitude. Maybe what I have seen, the attitude has become so positive, and that positive attitude and the nutritional thing. So every time when I see, or every day when she was here, when I am seeing, I may have to change what I am giving. So it is highly personalized, and depending upon the various, what you call as the her response. So that is the most important thing that I feel, especially when you are giving a personalized therapy, and especially at the epigenetic level, because as you all of us, maybe the experts know that epigenetics is a very, very dynamic area. So it can change all of a sudden. It can shut, it can on, it can off, and all those things can happen. And depending upon that, our body also shows some expressions. So just linking those expressions with epigenetics. And this you can, because I have learned this from people, from patients and other people, because when you closely observe, you can very easily identify what is happening. Subtle changes are very easily visible through the actions and other things. So after some time, when she was about to return back to US, she asked me, "Shall I go to US? Because after all these things, and what will be?" I said, "Okay, just whether you are in US, whether you are in India, or whatever it is the same. In US, maybe I cannot give all the intravenous or injectables that I was giving. The only thing is that maybe when she was undergoing the second time and third time surgery and all things, we used to communicate and also give some advice what all things she could do from there. But so what she has done, what she has told in the maybe I just make it into a small capsule form. What she meant by all these things, there is a sleep she took very much interest. Then comes the mental aspect. Then comes the treatment, conventional treatment, and then the nutrigenomics. So the integration happened with all these things. And if you take only one, it will not work. So it has to be integrated, and that is what is lacking in modern medical field, because there is no integration. So everybody thinks they are the best in their field. So that has to go, because that is where I think maybe CWC and all have to play a big role in making policy decisions and other things, especially by the people should understand, because I am getting a lot of especially cancer patients are coming to me because I used to do surgery before, and now they are coming because they understand. And I will say, okay, they will let the experts talk about what they know, and you take hold of your disease. One of the most important thing that everybody has to understand, because even recently when Lakshmi was in Cochin, I think about 1 month back, she was in Cochin. So when she was and she had such a positive attitude, and also you should have something in your mind to do. So that is the most important thing. As that is the I used to tell all the especially stage 3, stage 4 cancer patients, you set up your goal, and that is what your mind is doing. And mind is actually trying to stimulate your epigenetics. And this is the time you nourish the person very well. And you have to see that it enters your cell, it has to pierce the cell wall and go into the cytoplasm and also the mitochondria and all those things. And that is where the nutrigenomics work. And so when it works, so now you can see everything working there. Your yoga works there, your meditation works there, your prayer works there, nutrition works there, and your medicine is there outside to support. Maybe some. So this is what everybody wants. So then I feel the world is not in the doldrums, but we have plenty of hope to maybe structure it the way we want, and we can live in a better way. So I think Lakshmi is there. She can say she might have some comments on this.
Yeah, Lakshmi ji is there with us. Can we all have a huge round of applause for her? The way she have worked, it is actually an inspiration, and we all can learn from her that everything is possible. You just have to keep your attitude right with the positive thinking, and just the one thing that I want to know from you is that you have talked about personalized nutrition, which is very important.
Yeah.
In the nourishment of cell, is there any generalized guidelines that we can give to people? Because a lot of people do not develop symptoms, but right now, even you know that everyone is on a threshold of developing some time of lifestyle disorders because of the lifestyle we are leading. There are a lot of things which we can't avoid at this point of time, like exposure to television or radiations. They are beyond our control. So any generalized guidelines for nourishment of the cells, because you have emphasized on the importance of cell nourishment?
Yeah, one of the most, especially in this modern world where the electronic world is actually engulfing us in all the sphere of life, even at your home, your kitchen, your bedroom, your living room, wherever. I normally advise people, don't use any electronic appliances in your bedroom. No TV charging in the bedroom, no television in the bedroom, no mobiles in the bedroom. So put it in the outside or maybe that. So because even if you switch off slowly and slowly, some of the radiation comes and it strikes your hippocampus, because the brain hippocampal area has no protection. Anything can go in, anything which can enter the vibration cells can go there. So it is just like taking drugs, especially just like taking opium, just like taking alcohol. So without your knowledge, you are actually irritating those areas. So that is why most of the youngsters are not, especially when you plug the pin there and maybe hear some music on MP3 player, and with a earphone and everything, what happens is it stimulates this area, and what happens, it suppresses the hormone called melatonin. So you don't get any repairing during the night sleep. You can have it during daytime or when you're actively doing its job. And this is one of the precautions I think maybe you can take. Second thing, what I will say is take, especially you cannot avoid all those things. So since you are in this, you have to take high protein diet. Your protein, amino acid protein intake should go up. Because if you are in a software or if you are working with a lot of computers and other things, then you can see that, okay, you have to, because I have been using, because last, especially during lockdown, I am doing a lot of webinars. So during webinars, what I use, I know that, okay, I need a lot of protein, especially some specific amino acids, like I specifically mentioned about astaxanthin and all those things, because that gives a lot of protection, especially in this sacred area of your brain. Normally, we think it is very deeper inside the brain, and it is very well protected. But no, there's a blood-brain barrier will not protect this area. So you have to be careful with that. So that is why all these modern young children are very much, especially because I am doing a lot of school health programs. So I used to advise children. They take it they know very well. They will change the parents. It is not that parents can change the children, but children can change the parents. And third thing, I will say, take more good fat in the diet. Butter is very good. Ghee is good, unprocessed, maybe homemade. If you can make cheese at home, that also is very good. Then what we advise here in Kerala, we have the coconut and South coconut oil, virgin coconut oil. That means that you are taking from the coconut milk. It has got more of lauric acid and all those things. It will protect your brain very well. So it can be given in a, maybe you can put it 1 teaspoon every time when you take some meals or something. So these are some of the things, especially in modern world, without doing anything, people have to follow, maybe even before taking a meal. And I used to tell people, especially when you have to drink more water. And most of the doctors or most of us tell people, though, drink 2 liters or 3 liters of water every day. But nobody says which water. Not all drinking water that you said, some bottle it is available. These are all, because I have tested all the waters available in India, and also various well water in Kerala also. I have found that it all contains too much heavy metals, very high consumption, very 30 to 40 times higher than human consumption. But this is actually, how can we say that you drink all this poison inside? You are going to get. So what you have to, there is a way out. What you can do is, maybe a simple trick, maybe I think the audience can do. Take baking soda, 1 pinch, put it in 2 liters of water that you are drinking. And also you can put some leaves like tulasi leaves and all those things, basil leaves you can put there, or mint leaves you can put. Only thing is to change the leaves every 6 hours, otherwise it will decay. And the other things, if you are so specific, especially when patients come like diabetes, I say, you take magnesium tablet or capsules and potassium. You open that and put it inside the water you drink. So what happens here is, even if you are diabetic or anything, you will prevent kidney damage, number 1. You will prevent cancer formation, especially most of the cancers I have seen. I can tell you by my experience, almost all the cancers are produced by insulin. So don't think that insulin is something really, really good. It is very bad. And too much of an unused insulin create all sorts of things. It is an anabolic hormone. We know that it can produce mitosis, and it will grow the tumor if you are having. So that is why when Lakshmi was telling about her diabetes control, because I controlled her metabolism. Insulin, sugar, and triglyceride balance is perfect for her. So that is why she could achieve all these things. Suppose your insulin was high, and even yoga will not work, meditation won't work, nothing will work. So these are all the scientific details behind it. So when you say, okay, all these things can work together, provided you know what is happening. So we can actually today, I will say, you can monitor a person much better. Maybe on medically or scientifically. Only thing is that the people who manage it should know about it, maybe understand what is this, and otherwise nobody will even look at all this, because I look at the insulin level, and I look at the insulin level, cortisol level, and TSH level, along with lipid profile and blood sugar. Then you can see the beautiful balance that is creating. And I can see in the people who are coming out of disease, they are already balanced here. Without that, you cannot do it. So these are some of the tips. Maybe anybody can utilize it. Maybe it is a thing which anybody can employ in their life for reversing disease, or maybe preventing disease, or not getting
The
disease in
one
their
thing I
lifestyle.
want to know about high protein diet, as you have emphasized on the importance of high protein diet.
Yeah.
So earlier, sir, the recommended dietary allowance for everyone, matlab with normal sedentary lifestyle, was approx 0.8 to 1 gram per kg of ideal body weight,
Yeah.
which was making it roughly equal to 50 to 60 gram in general population.
Yeah.
Though when we work with people, we realize that their protein intake is far low than this recommended doses. Because normally when I'm a dietitian, when I take people's recall, I realize that they're eating hardly 15 to 20 grams of protein on an average per day. And
Sure.
with people who are on non-vegetarian foods also, they hardly reach up to 25 to 30 grams, majorly in majority of the cases. So by improving the suggesting high protein diet means matching it to the standards or raising it above the standards, because nowadays in the gyms and other places, as you would have been aware about, a lot of time high protein diet means substituting the carbohydrates with protein and consuming only protein. So can you just highlight the difference between the two, because RDA have further declined the amount of protein which should be taken. So please.
What I normally give, especially depends on the people who are excessive working, physical workout, or people sportsmen, and even people who are very much bothered about their health and maybe very active in their life despite age. I will say 1.2 grams per kilogram should be the ideal. So only things that as a doctor, I verify his kidney function and liver function. So if everything is okay, then I will just, only thing is how to give it. Well, that is the most important problem, because most protein powders available are all milk or whey protein, which I am not supporting. I support only plant protein. So any plant protein which can be there, especially pulses or other things, which I think a lot of
food are getting popular.
Food makers in around us, I used to tell them, okay, why don't you make sprouts, dry it and powder it and make it protein? So let us know through FSSAI, they analyze, or you have the analyzing laboratory, you analyze the amount of protein. And otherwise, in some people, when I know that I think you also know it is available as amino acid capsules. So I used to ask one lab in Hyderabad, one producer in Hyderabad. I asked them to make amino acids, especially for autistic children and Alzheimer's disease. I say, I want these amino acids to be there. Put it in the, so they are, he is a researcher. So he used to make not for any profit motive, but for his interest, and he's asked me. So I think you might be seeing a lot of autism patients I am managing, and then even Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all those people, because you need the best plant protein to go. Without plant protein, it won't work, because milk, I will again say it is an animal protein. So I don't want the milk protein to be too much. Maybe a little bit of milk protein is okay, but not too high a protein, because it works out cheaper for any protein manufacturer. So you can make it in capsule form and give. And that is what I am, because I am not finding the correct product on store or anywhere. So that is what I have seen. And other things what I am looking at is especially sprouts and other things are really good. Even people who are, especially in Kerala, most of the people are non-vegetarians. So I assume, okay, even if you are a non-vegetarian, 50% of the protein should come from vegetable source. So go for that, and that should be mainly pulses and dals, grams, and all these things. You can sprout, and I think a lot of people are doing it. So that is the way in which it can.
Amazing this is, and I just hope that people from the pharma companies watch this webinar, take notes, and develop capsules with regards to amino acids. Any specific amino acids, sir, on which we should emphasize more?
Yeah, one of the most important amino acids that I gave is carnitine, L-carnitine. And also along with that, we have a specific, we have 8 to 10 amino acids, just lysine, cysteine, and all those things, especially. And glutamine is one thing which we give, especially mainly for people with gut problems, especially people who had all those things. So I give, maybe you have to face it. Only things you cannot give it too much. So face it in different phases and give you, even for all this management, especially in treatment also. We cannot give all this in first time and when I see somebody. So you have to improve their level slowly, and then you can hike up to the maximum. So that is how it can be done. So it is, after some time it becomes so easy. So I used to train the dietitians who are here. I said, okay, don't just put up a diet. Always look at the patient, and then they used to come to me and say, yeah, it has to be more of like that.
Okay, sir. One more thing I want to know, you have suggested about the genome metabolic assessment and GMR, other protocols to be followed. So are these protocols available everywhere, or is this a systematic approach which is available on net so that the person just get assistant themselves, or they have to come to you only at your Kochi center for the same?
No. What I have done is I made these questions available, maybe anybody who is practicing, but only thing is that reporting format, maybe it takes a long time for anybody to understand. Even I have given to the fellowship trained doctors, they find it difficult to understand how it is. So what I said, okay, now it is because the systems are there. You can ask the questions and send it online, so that I can give a report and I can give the advice for all things. So that is one of the things, and also another area of maybe coming up, because yesterday also one few people came to me and said how to create artificial intelligence and virtual reality. Virtual reality is coming in a big way, because anyway I was also instrumental in one of the things. So I think tomorrow it can create a lot of good division. Especially technology has to come and support. Technological support is absolutely necessary, especially if you want to deliver it to thousands and millions of people.
Right, sir, because millions of people are in need of this particular approach.
Yeah.
And so, sir, are there any trainings which are available, or are there any hospitals which are replicating this pattern?
We have at present few in Kerala, and now we are going to start something in Bangalore. And I think we are also planning one in Kolkata now, because some of the fellowship holders, they wanted my assistance in this. So we have made up some programs how to develop this in different parts of the world. So a few doctors from Mumbai is already coming. Somebody from Pune is very keen, and they had come for the conference and asked me. So I said, okay, first learn, then you implement, then I will help. That is how it has to go. So
I just hope that a lot of people do fellowship, they learn about it and replicate this pattern.
Sure.
I just hope with artificial intelligence, it is available to all the people on the globe.
Okay.
Fine, sir.
Right. Okay.
Okay, sir. One more thing. Just say you were discussing about QALY, which was Quali. Can you give more information about this?
Yeah. Especially, I think I can run through my slides. Few more.
Sure, sir. Sure. Please take it up.
After that, maybe I will finish that and then I can come back.
Yes, sir. Surely.
So this is a short, especially when you're talking about quali and all. These are the things. This is another non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So what all things we have seen, especially you can see the patient came on 16/6/22. Bilirubin was 5. After 2 weeks, it became 4.9, and you can see that in 2/8 it became 1.9. So SDOT was like this, and I think in almost 2 months' time, it has come down to this, and SGPT liver function that has come down from 2,850 to 45, and hemoglobin raised from 7.5 to 10 and 125 to 25. and insulin resistance. So this is one of the things which I think the quality of life. So IR ratio, insulin resistance ratio was 32 and it came down to 14. So this has to come down. It has to come down between 7 to 15 is the this thing that I use. And CA 19.9 came down from 735 to 80.79 in just 2 months. So you can see that, okay, he has just finished this thing and is going back to Dubai. He was running a business. When he came, he was in doing very bad, especially they said maybe liver transplant or tapping and all those things, but none of these things were necessary. And now he has 2 days back, he had left to Dubai where he's running his own business. So he's well now, but only thing is I asked him to come back after 1 month so that I have to review him. And he's taking some oral diet and other things. That is what happening. This is one case in which so this is another case, especially it's a 32-year-old patient with glioblastoma. So this has been here. The patient came to me with epilepsy and glioblastoma. That's a brain tumor. So, and because he was just young and he doesn't want to do any surgery. And only thing, the problem with him was he used to get epilepsy every day. So initially it was a little tough. So we can say that, so we have this A, B, C, D, E, F. These are all the marking system which we give, because to put on the slide this became easy. And finally you can see in all these things it has come to almost into the normal. Now it is a 5th year. Now I have not done any CT scan on him to see whether how the tumor is there. But the patient had no epilepsy for the last 3 years, no medications, only on nutrients. He comes maybe once in 3 months for review. And he asked me whether I should take a CT scan. I said, okay, for this thing, I said, okay, maybe after 3 months or 6 months, when he comes, he is also coming from, not from Kerala, he's from another state. So he'll be coming back. So this is some of the monitoring markers we have to follow. Otherwise, you won't know. Because when the patient came 5 years back, what was the patient's this thing that it will be very difficult for us to remember all these things, even if you write it in the case sheet. And so what we do is, as a marking system, we will say, and even the patient will forget. Especially maybe some people might ask, what is this A? A means it is an epigenetic questionnaire. When we asked, we knew that it was hypomethylation and the insulin resistance index was very high. And in B, what has happened was mainly, you can say that it is, we have understood that the patient was under the disease control, it was on grade 4. So in especially when you say about C, when you say that it is especially we look at the inflammatory markers. So especially when the patient was having CRP, C-reactive protein very high, homocysteine very high, 28, and C-reactive protein. So inflammatory markers were there. And especially when you say, especially in D, and E is actually what we are actually, what we are talking about, the quality added life in years. So actually we consider 0 as the normal, and anything above 5. So 5 is very, very severe, and 5A is that because he cannot do anything. Every day he's having epilepsy. So his quality of life was very poor. He cannot drive any vehicle. Now he's driving vehicle and all those things. So quality of life has changed. No epilepsy for 3-4 years. So from 5A advanced form to 1 now. So this is not cancer. This is a diabetic gangrene. So this has been a lady who had been on insulin for more than 20 years, who came with a gangrene of one leg. She came for amputation. So we have seen, especially in 6 months' time, you can see what all the parameters are changing. In 2 weeks, her gangrene has healed. So we avoided amputation. So she was admitted here, and you can see the CRP and homocysteine. It was high, and it is slowly coming down. And it is after 6 months, it has come down to 6/8. So vitamin D3 level. So you have to imagine that most of the complicated diabetic patients are very low vitamin D. It was 6.8. And after 6 months, it became 62. Because I normally overcorrect vitamin D level, because every disease of cancer, diabetes, other heart disease, and all lifestyle disease, I wanted to bring it above 100. So the cutoff mark that I am giving is 120. So even though the toxic level is around 200. So maybe initially this patient I have given injectable IM intramuscular injection of 600,000 unit vitamin D. And you can see the symptoms we have classified into various. It was in a very, because she was 79, she could not walk. And now after 6 months. So now she is around 81 years. For the last 2 years, she is not taking any insulin. She is not taking any oral hypoglycemic agents. She is off the medication. Because why it is happening? Because she is. I don't consider diabetes a disease of sugar, because I consider it as an imbalance of hormones and blood sugar energy metabolism. So if you balance that, and you can see that every systems will come back to normal, and she is perfectly fine without anything. And in between, maybe she takes some food, which maybe some occasion. How can you stop an 80-year-old to stop this food, stop that food? So I said, okay, live your life, and only thing is that always eat good protein and some good fat, not that processed cereals. And occasionally she takes sweets also. And this is one diabetic gangrene, which I just want, because that has been, she has been asked for amputation of the leg, and she refused. She said, let me die. I don't want to amputate my leg. So when you say the comparison, you can say that we calculate when you said about quality added life, QALY. So in case 1, we have seen it is about later around 2 months. Health and wellness score, that is what we do to analyze the quality added life. So health and wellness score was very poor, and quality of life was around 2 by 10. So in 2 months time, it became 5 out of 10. So it is an average. So I will say it is a satisfactory score. Especially we can compare, especially a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in an advanced stage, to come to this level in 2 months time. So in case 2, you can say that glioblastoma in 5 years time, health and wellness score was very poor, and now it has become very good. Quality added life in years, it was 2 by 10. So we gave that score, and it is in 5 years, it has come to 8 by 10. And case number 3, you can say from the 70-year-old lady of diabetic gangrene, quality of added life in years is 3 by 10. So why I am looking at these 2 things the most important? Because I am not bothered about the lifespan of anybody. I am not bothered about the death, because deaths can happen. Deaths can be due to a lot of factors. And the quality of life after the treatment. Because as a physician or as a doctor, my job is not to cure disease or heal disease, but my job is to improve the quality of life. And if I can improve the quality of life, that is. So when you say about this quality of life, we have a lot of things, especially you are asking, Dr. Vandana, you were asking about the quality of life, what are things we measure. So it is an individual thing. Every person, what we do is we look at the most prominent symptom of the patient as a score. So that is that the patient can analyze themselves. Then we take the investigations, or maybe the findings that the doctor saw. So we take maybe 4 or 5 findings of that. And the most important thing, and we put it as a monitoring marker system. And then we say every when the patient is admitted, we look at every day, and at the discharge, and then after that every month. And then every month we'll say the patient's symptoms and signs. And if something is going bad, we can very easily adjust some nutrients or some nutritional factors according to the patient's state. So this actually your intervention will change according to this markers change every time when you understand this. So that is how it is being. So I know that it is not a fixed protocol. That is why initially I said fixed protocol will not work. But the protocol here is, one is the patient, and second is the person who is judging the patient. So both people are judging. I don't. So when you are judging, as if a doctor, or if sometimes I have seen, especially in Bombay, I know that some of you must know. She came to me and asked how to. So she's a nutritionist. She came and asked me how to do. So she is actually going to start some of the things. Her name is Anjali Mukherjee. I think she is running a lot of centers in Bombay. And she asked me how to do this. I said, okay, you can initial assessment, other things I can give you a support. And only thing is that when you go forward, you have to keep a chart. Then only you can understand. And there should be somebody to judge it, and then you have to verify it. And you can say immediate, short duration, long duration. And along with that, we also, especially in this lady, this lady diabetic gangrene, I asked her. She came in. I asked her one question. Do you know about what is your problem? She said, "Doctor, anyway, I don't want to cut my leg. If I die here, I don't care." I said, "Okay, if suppose there is no gangrene and there is no diabetic ulcer in your leg, what will you do? What do you want to do in your life?" She had a granddaughter, and she wants her marriage. She wants to conduct her marriage. And recently, as I think last month and all, she called me and said, "Doctor, my granddaughter's marriage is fixed, and it will be sometime in like 2-3 months. If possible, you come." So you set a goal for her. So a personalized goal, 79-year-old, what goal otherwise you can have? And especially Varalakshmi, when she was talking, and I say especially in cancer patients, because you just imagine her talk when she has given a talk and when she narrated her experience, it might have saved at least hundreds of people. So that you cannot do with any money. So you can make others follow, and it is and only thing my job is to put the science behind all these things, and that is what we have to do. Otherwise, then the medical doctors, even myself, I cannot accept it, because why? What is the science? It is all bullshit, you can say. But what I am seeing is, especially in this area, I think it's a collective. It's not that it is my own, because I am being helped by a lot of researchers in the world, and I am in touch with them, and so that is how. And now that is how I became in touch with each other. So all these things will work accordingly. So yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm so sorry. But sir, one thing, just say you have told about the quality score and the health wellness score, that it is very personalized. But I just want you to develop something by artificial intelligence only, so that we all can calculate our health and wellness score and quality score. And I just wish that everybody in this world should have this score 10 on 10, so that the quality of life is something which matters the most. Irrespective of living without any quality of life, suffering is not the way a person should live. So this should be full on full. Once a question which is in my mind is that while assessing all these scores, you have put a great emphasis on the CRP and homocysteine values as well as vitamin D. 70% of Indian population is like vitamin D deficient. You must be very much well aware about this point. Whereas when we see every time a person approaches me or a doctor, the first thing that we see, we just ask them to get their vitamin D tested. And we already, we are having an awareness that definitely it will be on the lower side only. So why don't we suggest a mandatory protocol for it? My first question is this. Second thing is ki homocysteine. Homocysteine nowadays is marked with a lot of diseases like cancer, heart problems. The major culprit, if we see, somehow comes out to be homocysteine level. Whereas when we normally the people in India especially, they're having a perception about cholesterol levels. Though nowadays there is no upper limit for cholesterol, because it is said that it is produced in our body. So like dietary cholesterol is having no impact on our blood cholesterol levels. So still homocysteine is not coming into focus. What can be the reason behind it, and how often should a person get themselves tested, and what should person do to keep it in control?
So when I put this homocysteine, because this is very, very significant, because it is actually noting your epigenetic angle, especially you are going to the methylation cycle. So that means it is you are actually capturing the epigenetic mechanism there. So there are two things which can go wrong here, especially, and even I have seen a lot of doctors who have given a lot of good nutrients like folates, B12, and everything has been given, but homocysteine is not coming down. They asked me why. I said it is because of toxicity. Lead toxicity is very high. And you remove the lead from the cells, you can see suddenly the homocysteine is coming down. So one of the most, because if you really look into, because this is not a scientific forum, I didn't put that chart and all. We have, because I used to tell all the doctors, when you sit in this room, you may put this chart as a diagram. You fix it on your, when you see the patient, you look that, because you have to see the patient as the biochemical event happening, especially you can see the methylation cycle, then you can see the folate cycle, then you can see the BH4 cycle, then you can see the urea cycle, and then you can see the all the energy and other things are all byproduct of this. It is because of that this is coming. So when you know this, you can see where you are looking. And to be frank, when I see a patient today and they come and talk to me, I will definitely know which mineral they want, which vitamin they want, and which is going heavier and which heavy metal. Because when somebody I am not naming an Indian sports player star who came to me and asked what is wrong with me, because I am not able to achieve what I could. Then because I knew him because he's a very popular star, and I just looked. I said, okay, I can see you on the field, and you have a deficiency of zinc, B6, and B12. He asked me why. I said, okay, your attitude, because your attitude will destroy other players, and your attitude, you cannot win anything. Maybe you are the best in the world, but that is just on the level. Because when I see somebody, I say, oh, this fellow is having magnesium problem, this fellow is having zinc problem, or some deficiency. Just like making a diagnosis, you can go very much deeper into it, and you can really manage the epigenetic level, or you can understand. So just for understanding, because I am not doing any epigenetic or SNB analysis to do this, because this is more powerful than homocysteine is on one side. Then I can see the insulin resistance ratio on the other side. Then I see the insulin triglyceride ratio on the other side. I am not bothered about total cholesterol. I am not bothered about LDL, because which we call as the bad cholesterol. I only when I see the result, I only look at HDL. If it is above 50, I don't care. I don't care what the others, because that is very good for the patient. Anyway, they won't get any attack or anything. So the thing that you have to understand is, okay, I will say, okay, natural good cholesterol you can take any amount. If your mind says take, you take, and no mind will allow you to take extra. So, but if you are processed it, you might take, without your knowledge, you might even take more. So that is the problem with the processed fat and other things. So simple, because I wanted to cut down on the expense of the patient. So that is why I have to balance on the limited resources in which you can do the management. So homocysteine, initially it was very difficult for me to do. So I insisted on the laboratories to have it, and then now it has become very common. Homocysteine they are doing, and even the what do you call the not only CRP but also HSCRP, and then what they are coming out with, even copper zinc ratio. So I said, okay, I will look at the copper zinc ratio, because you can see invariably all the cancer patients, all the diabetic patients have very high copper and very low zinc. And just for because this is so I made them easily available for all the analysis. So you can see that, okay, initially I think I remember when I was just as a surgeon and coming out, we are prescribing a lot of copper at that time, saying that it produces angiogenesis in the heart. Now it is just the opposite. Now you have to have more zinc, because copper is too much. Maybe I think estrogen, other thing, estrogenic food, and all the pesticides, toxins, everything is creating high estrogenic food. And people who are taking too much of vegetables, leafy vegetables, they'll be going high in copper. And if you take milk, and you can see the cow is grazing from the same thing in which, or giving the same food. So you can say that their copper level will go up and estrogen level will go up. Copper and estrogen will go up. Especially in women, we have seen most of the cases, you can see in these women, they are coming, they are maybe in 40s. Why it is coming? It is because of the high copper. And the high copper, that is high estrogen dominance. That creates a bigger problem, because it blocks the progesterone, it blocks your insulin, and it blocks your insulin working. And also it creates high steroid, and then go for adrenal fatigue. So you can see a multiple hormone imbalance is created. Just if you just balance on the food habits, then it will be very easy. Just the only thing you have to understand, okay, this is creating it, and this is a problem. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This particular talk is giving so much hope. It is a ray of light in the life of people who are suffering, and definitely By learning about the cases, each and every individual will be empowered by this thought that they can be healed. And I hope this positivity will help us in healing. Thank you
Okay.
so much, sir, for being here with us today.
This is nothing, just complete. This is one slide which I think you can say a lot of. On the left hand side, you can see one chart which is showing, and you can see where the lead is coming and work, and where the mercury is. Maybe you can, because I put up in the slide because somebody wants to put it in their cupboard, you can put it, or you can study on this, because this contains all about a human life. And then you can say this, you can combine with epigenetics. You can see methylation cycle, folate cycle, BH4, urea, energy. I don't want to go into the details because it is too scientific. So we used to conduct the MDHFR pathway and workshops, especially for those who are interested. So that is one thing. And these are the some of the things why this biochemistry and epigenetics closely linked. And you can see the methylation is very significant in DNA, and you can switch on, switch off production of DNA nucleic acids, silencing the chromosome. Even because I have seen researchers in animals, especially X chromosome, which is especially at the time of giving birth, you can convert that into male, female, or so like that. So it is very easy just before 1 month of what happens of the fertilization. So with during that time you can manage anything. So that is maybe some of the I have read some of the stories in the Indian Vedic scriptures, old stories, and I know that now I think that okay, maybe these are all right. The only thing is that you have to go into the science or maybe the epigenetics behind all those things. Then you can say about which we have been forgotten to say, especially not DNA methylation alone. It is histone methylation is very significant. So protection of neural tube defects. And one of the biggest thing, because yesterday was somebody asked me the question in India, the biggest problem they found in all parts of northern parts of India, and also because they had done a survey, they found that all the children are anemic, and they are giving all these things. And what is it? I said, okay, the main problem is B6 and B12, and then even if you give iron, there will be no difference. So you know the reason why? Because their digestion status is very poor. So I think India is deficient in zinc. Without zinc, you cannot digest anything. You cannot get any minerals in through orally. So even if you give good food, it will not work. So then you can see the production of CoQ10, production of neurotransmitters, stabilizing your myelin and T cell, especially on all this production. So these are some of the maybe the latest thing, especially on epigenetics, is the genes language, linking epigenetic language and how you can modify it to, it is modified to cancer production, and then how can you reverse it. So you can say the new term has come hormesis, especially that is the language of your genes. So this refers to adaptive response of the biological system. And this is BMC Geriatrics, which is published in 2017, especially some of the studies. And I don't know whether it can this finally to end it. I don't know if it is coming from here, you can hear.
Some folks are short, some folks are tall, some folks don't have much hair at all. Two things that make this happen, it seems. First is food, and then there's genes. Now genes are kind of like a plan to decide whether you're a woman or a man. Then they interact with food you see to decide what kind of man or woman you'll be. You might think this is all complicated. I can prove some this can be overstated. Here's nothing that you can take home. That's a piece of the puzzle from your epigenome. For your epigenes, you'll be the best you've ever been. You may not think that it's true, but you can eat your way to a healthy gut. With gene exchanges, DNA makes you behave in a different way. Like opposite switches, and what's really mean to turn genes on or off against what you see. There's DNA methylation, assimilation, phosphorylation, information on changes that you might find. Have to write down when you're in intestine. For all you need, your switches are the same. If they're not self-like, you sick or lame. The good news is if our research comes through, we can find the right things to make a better you. For your epigenes, you'll be the best you've ever been. You may not think that it's true, but you can eat your way to a healthy gut. Eat for your epigenes will make you strong and lean and mean. You may not think that it's true, but You can eat your way to a healthy gut. All right.
So now you can see, you have to make it more simple. So this is maybe all the things what we are talking is all only this. And finally, I think some musicians can make it in a very easy way for all of us and to understand. Okay, I think any other question?
Sir, this song was a complete sum up of the sessions that we have been conducting since last 4 weeks. Everything you have summarized in the song. And thank you so much, sir, for like explaining all the details about you, about how our cells work and how cellular nutrition matters. I'm also keenly looking forward for the workshop you have discussed right now. I just hope that we can learn from it together. And as you have talked about zinc, that we are missing zinc in our diet. I remember earlier days, people used to the coating of zinc on their utensils, which were used for cooking.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
every now and then, people used to come at our, or from the roadside, people used to come for this. In Rajasthan, we used to call it kalai karwana on the utensils. I do not
Okay, okay.
local languages what we call it in other language, but they used to do this coating every now and then. I hope that was due to the zinc factor only, but and I hope with the sustainable things coming around, we will get back to the approaches which were again good for everybody's health and well-being. Thank you so much, sir. I want
Thank
to
you.
invite Dr. Kala sir to the session to summarize everything. Sir,
Thank you so
hear?
much, Vandana ji. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. You are doing
Okay,
it.
so Vandana ji, you have conducted the session so well. You raised pointed and meaningful questions, and that were answered so eloquently by Dr. Shah. So I think we have a wonderful series of sessions that we have, last 4 sessions related to gut health on nutrigenomics. Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Dr. Shikumar, you want to remove sharing screen?
Yeah, okay. I will just do it.
So today we actually saw, we have been hearing about holistic treatment, for a long time now. And what we saw today was a practical application of that, and also good results that we could get from there, which is just amazing. Let me share my screen. So as you said, we had 4 webinars in this series. The topics that we have covered were gut, food, and genes, you and your gut microbiome. Then we talked about functional foods and gut microbiomes. Later on, we came to understanding nutrigenomics, the journey from lab to kitchen, which Vandanaji did such a nice job. And then we came to application of nutrigenomics, which is the session we are running today. Some success stories of disease reversals. I think these are all phenomenal, and they give a lot of hope to people who are watching this today, or who can watch it subsequently on YouTube also, that never ever give up hope. And I can't thank enough all our experts, Dr. Shikumar, Dr. Prabhakar Ranjikar, Dr. Shreyas Kumbhare, and Dr. Vandanaji. And the event has been moderated so well by Sharad and Dr. Vandanaji again. She did a dual role of, being an expert also and moderation also. So Vandanaji, extra thanks to you for that. And, we'd like all our speakers to remain connected with us. We have learned a lot. We are getting a lot of good feedback on the sessions that we have run. So thanks a ton to all of you. So we are encouraged by response to the series that we just ran, and we are planning for a next series on diabetes, which again we all know is a lifestyle disease. We'll talk about understanding various types of diabetes and how do you identify them, that somebody in your family is suffering from diabetes. Identification is the first step, and if we can do it sooner, the better. And then in the next part, we'll learn about what all lifestyle changes we need to make or we can make to manage and reverse diabetes. Date and time for the first webinar, Sunday, 18th September. Time will remain same at 11 a.m. And again, 25th September, we'll take a break, and then another webinar will be on 2nd of October. Our expert for this is Dr. Saurabh Jain. He has been voted as one of the top 10 doctors in Mumbai and a young doctor who again believes in holistic treatment. So do join us for this webinar on 18th September and on 2nd October. We'd like to thank our partners. We are strategic knowledge partners in IHMR University and IIS University. And then we have our community partners who help us on ongoing basis. We have area development partners, corporate wellness partners, NGO partners, and wellness partners. We thank all of them for their continuous support on ongoing basis. Some more who help us provide us professional services and guidance. We are thankful to all of them. And then we have team of doctors, Dr. Sudhir Bhandari and Dr. Sheila Nambiarji, who guide us, advise us. And then team of our internal team of Dr. Sunil Jain, Dr. Rashmi Jain, and Dr. Chavi Mehra. Co-team and advisors, Sarvendra Multaniji, Adi Gurudas, Jitendra Gautam, and Arushi Jain. Then our ambassadors, who are prominent people in society and help us take this message forward. Mahavir Pratap Sharma ji, he was ex-chairperson Thai Global. Neeta Buchra ji, she was a founder chairperson of Fikti Flow. And Major General C.P. Singh Saab, who is a war veteran of Sri Lanka operations and also a cancer survivor. Then management team, of course, our founder, Mr. Naren Bakshi, whom we saw in the initial video also. He went through personal experiences, applied best from East and West, benefited, and then said, let me share it along with the whole world and see if we can make a difference. And we are sure we will make a difference with help and support of professionals and speakers like Dr. Sri Kumar and Vandana ji and Dr. Ranjekar and Dr. Shreyas Kumbekar, Sharad Kamraji, Tushar Garg, Umardin ji, Mohammad Ajarundi ji. Sharad is of course there. He did the opening today. Thanks, Sharad, for that. So please follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. We are there on all these platforms, and you keep getting updates from us from time to time on what we are up to and what we are planning to do. One mantra that I have made out after we heard these sessions. So far, we used to hear, we are what we eat. I think the new mantra is, we are not only what we eat, we are what we eat, what we metabolize after eating, after metabolizing, what do we absorb, and then detoxification is equally important. And of course, we have got to eat in right balance so that all our body chemicals of elements are in fine shape and fine balance. Once again, reminder, next series on diabetes in 2 parts. Topic 1 on 18th September, understanding various types of diabetes and identifying them. And number 2, lifestyle changes to manage and reverse diabetes on 2nd October. Our expert, Dr. Saurabh Jain, he'll join us from Mumbai. Once again, on behalf of my Crack the Wellness Code Foundation and CWC Global, I, Wing Commander Vidyakant Kala, take your leave and thank you so much for being with us, joining us and encouraging us. Please keep connected with us. Do write to us on the wellnesscode.org. That's our platform. Our mobile number 733-995-1157. Do call us, do drop us messages and keep connected. Thank you so much once again and keep healthy.